Hello everyone and welcome to my morning report analysis videos with me, Japan Market Alistair Hattie Markets on Monday the 15th of May. We've got a fairly interesting start to European trading. Basically we've got a bit of dollar weakness that we've seen that basically has been continuing in the last few days really, and accelerating on Friday with that weaker than expected US data from retail sales and inflation that has hit the dollar, and it's come back quite strongly. You've seen treasury yields falling away quite sharply on the 10-year and also the 2-year, and that has certainly impacted through the dollar. Now we're also seeing a little bit of an increase in volatility. The VIX just picking up slightly. I mean, not exceptionally high, but that's coming as it is interesting also that equity markets in the European session, DAX and FTSE, have both sort of moved out to all-time highs. However, both corrected back. Certainly the DAX has sort of fallen away quite strongly. It'll be interesting to see if this is sort of the beginning sort of possibility of the markets running into a little bit of overhead sort of resistance really. At those around those highs, as to whether that starts to sort of impact on markets, because I mean, my charts today, I'll speak about it later in greater detail, but the S&P 500 sort of still in this possibility of a rolling over move. Yeah, I'll show you that in greater detail in a bit. But what we have got to look forward to today is not a great deal again on the economic data on a Monday. Quite often we see it fairly quiet, and certainly that is the case today. Empire State Manufacturing and NAHB Housing Market Index are the two factors there. Just before I get to that, you've had the Chinese data out overnight. Again, that's sort of disappointed, didn't it? Look at the industrial output, 6.5% down from 7.1% expected. Retail sales, yes, they sort of held up on expectation, but they were lower than last month, and also the urban investment was disappointing as well. So playing into that sort of slightly corrective, possibly corrective equities moves that we're seeing early today. Now, the New York Fed manufacturing and NAHB is at 1:30 New York Fed and 3 o'clock for the NAHB. New York Fed 7 is the expectation there. Now this is interesting because what we have seen is this New York Fed number that's sort of rolled over in the last couple of months, and I'm interested to see if it again disappoints, because that could start to suggest a bit of a slowing of the positive sort of sentiment surrounding these regional Fed surveys that we've seen in the last sort of 6 months. So yeah, just watch out for that. I think this afternoon that could be the one that moves markets. But generally speaking, nothing really on the agenda to really affect things too badly. Now, my chart today, as I said, is the S&P 500. And what we have seen, as I showed you earlier, is the S&P 500 sort of moving out towards this high of 24 area. 24 sort of big figure really in the last sort of week or so. It's just hit that as a ceiling and rolled over. Now, you haven't seen an incredible sort of corrective move, but if you saw a move below 2380, for example, that would complete a little sort of top pattern. But look at these momentum indicators. We start to see the RSI just rolling back under 50, MACD lines, possibility of crossing lower, and stochastics also having crossed lower but not yet confirmed on the sort of corrective move. So there is a possibility that this could turn into a corrective move. Now, this sort of 2380 has been a bit of a pivot, hasn't it, in sort of last 2 or so months. So a break down below that would start to sort of generate a little bit more corrective pressure perhaps, and then turn you back into a bit of a range play. But yeah, it's one to watch, and it's sort of very early doors still, but just could turn into a bit of a sort of a range play that we see. So 2380 is the support we're looking out for. Initially, Friday's low was 2387. Watch out for that as the initial support, but 2380 generally seen as your key support near term. Now 2395 initially, and that obviously is below these highs, which were under, just at 24.03. So I wish you good luck in your trading today, and a little bit more corrective looking out the sort of hourly momentum indicators as well. That sort of could suggest we're starting to find a little bit more sort of just momentum building to the downside potentially. So I wish you good luck in your trading, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.